All right, so this is my thoughts on Dune House Atreides. So this is the first Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson Dune book. I think making a prequel is a really smart idea to do that first, because I think if they went straight out and they tried to finish the Dune series, it probably would have gone like awful. Because that was a big one. That was a big undertaking. So I think playing it safe and seeing if they even could write Dune books was a really smart move. One thing. So it follows a very young Leto. He's like 12 years old in this. At the start, at least. Oh yeah, time passes in these books. There's a lot of time skips in the Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson books. That's just like something they like to do. Ow, sorry. One thing is, let's see. It also follows the Baron. The Baron's like buff in the start of this. And you kind of learn more about the Baron. In the Dune books, it's just implied that he kind of like, as like a powered move, he would kind of take advantage of little boys. So he was like a pedophile. But in this one, it's fully realized. They make it not to say better. Better's not the right word. They fully imply though that he just doesn't like women. He only likes boys. Which makes sense because he's evil. No, I'm kidding. But no. And then in this one, the old lady from Dune, she's like, I guess, middle age in this. Part of the breeding program to get the chosen one. That's a big focus in this trilogy, is the amount of work that Bene Gesserit was pulling to get Paul, or not Paul, but the idea of the chosen one. And so basically she has a child with the Baron through like coercion. Basically she like told the Baron, like, well, you got to do this or else, like, I forget what it was. It was a blackmail of some sort. Baron hated it. It was like super embarrassing for him. And then the kid ended up being born malformed, so they needed another child. And the Baron took advantage of her, like drugged her and took advantage of her, and it was it was a little off. It was meant to be disturbing. And she ended up actually getting her own sort of revenge, because the Bene Gesserit, they can create enzymes and poisons within their body. Basically gave the Baron Harkonnen the mother of all STDs, which quite literally killed his metabolism. Like, it was non-functioning. And so, because that was another thing. He prided himself on his physique and his body. His body was tea. Such a weird saying. Yeah, no, and there we go. Sorry, I'm playing Cookie Clicker in the background. So I got it's like my priorities, like this video, and then Cookie Clicker's like right up here. But no, and then it follows Leto. It also follows Duncan, Idaho. Fade Routha hasn't been born yet, because I'm pretty sure it's talked about in Dune. Fade Routha is literally like a year older than Paul. But the Beast Rabin, he's a full-grown adult, and he basically he made a sport out of hunting slaves. And Duncan, Idaho's family was slaves, pretty much, and Duncan, however, had enough survival instincts, and he actually escaped, and he hid in an obsidian mine, because like I forget what exactly it was. It was like some kind of, it was like obsidian diamonds or so. I don't know. It was something like that. But basically, it was just like glass. He was basically just hid in a giant crate of glass and cut himself up really bad. And ended up making his way to Caladan because he had heard good thing, because the Harkonnens and the Atreides, they're beefing. They've been beefing, and he hears good things about the Atreides, so he wanted to go there. And as soon as he gets there, literally the old Duke Paulus and Leto, because Paulus is training Leto in ducal duties, and so dookie duties. Anyway, fart jokes aside, so they basically immediately let him become like a stable boy. They eat his story up, and what happens is while Paulus is fighting a bull, the bull gets drugged, and basically the bull is given a ton of steroids and essentially just pre-workouts. So because bullfighting, it's like I don't know how it works in real life. I'm going to assume it translates pretty one-to-one, but they have a sword that's tipped with like a little poison, and it's basically like a sedative. Basically, they just made it so the bull burned off the sedative like immediately, and ended up killing the old Duke. And so Leto, at like 12 years old, takes the reins, and he's trying to figure stuff out. And it turns out Leto's mom had something to do with it. So he like exiled her like immediately. And it was that was pretty crazy. And while that's happening, the Baron is kind of trying to he hears about this he's like, "Oh, okay. So how about we just make Leto lose all his money and all his status." So while Leto is on, Leto goes on a Hayliner because he's going to visit the capital planet, and at this point, someone figured out no ship technology. It was like some crackpot inventor. No one else knew about it, and he figured out how to make no rooms, which is where the no globe that all the characters were hanging out in Heretics and Chapter House of Dune. That's where they were kind of holed up. He figured out how to make no rooms, so he made one for the Harkonnens, and then they commissioned him to build a no ship. And what they do is they get on that Hayliner, and then while they're on the no ship, they start shooting other ships on there. And that's like a huge, like their equivalent, a great convention no-no. And Leto gets accused because they flew the ship to be like basically right where Leto's is, so it looks like the lasers came from Leto's ship. And Leto's like, "No, I'm completely innocent. Check everything." Because the Harkonnens, they fired on a Tleilaxu ship, and so the Tleilaxu are like, "Okay, well, if you're gonna shoot at me," they're like, "I'm gonna shoot at you, dude. What the hell?" And Leto doesn't know what to do, so he turns on his Holtzman shield. So basically, that messes everything up. The Navigator can't fly with a Holtzman shield online. If they try to shoot it, it's going to be like a giant explosion. And so it causes a whole stir. And it's a really cool scene. It's like the Navigator like talks over the speaker, and it's like, "You are bold, Atreides." And it's nice hearing the Navigators talk, because it's like, it really shows how unhuman they are. And I just thought that was. And then let's see. Sorry, I got like a work notification. All the while, Shaddam poisoned his father. And towards the end of the book, his dad dies and he becomes king of the universe. Trying to think. Oh, the Tleilaxu and Shaddam, so the emperor in the main Dune book, they start working together kind of secretly. And keep in mind, it's also heavily implied Shaddam is not. It's like how Palpatine is portrayed in the Star Wars Legends books, specifically Darth Plagueis. He's not really. He's like smart. He's not really that much of a thinker. He's more of a backstabber. Because in the Star Wars Legends, one of the books, it's like a Darth Plagueis book. It's revealed that Plagueis basically planned all of the Clone Wars and prequel movies and everything, and Darth Sidious just like killed him and took over the plan. Shaddam does not do much of the thinking. He's very quick to backstab. But his friend, Count Fenring, who was cut from the novel, or not novel, was cut from the movie, but it's he kind of comes up with this plan, and so he's going to remove the Empire's reliance on comb to produce spice, and the Harkonnens too. Because the Harkonnens just acquired Arrakis, and the Emperor doesn't want to be reliant on them because he knows while he will collaborate with them, he knows they're not trustworthy in the slightest. So he commissions the Tleilaxu to, with their axolotl tanks, innovate a way to synthetically manufacture spice. It's a really cool, really neat plan. And so his way of doing this is, you should just like, we're just gonna let you guys ship a ton of military forces. We're gonna use our forces to help you. We're gonna remove everybody off Ix. Now Ix is, they go full in depth and elaborate on what Ix looks like. Ix is a complete forest wildlife planet. They want to preserve their natural stuff, but it has huge underground caverns, like miles and like huge. So what they do is they build hayliners there, because they manufacture some, not all of the hayliners, some of them, and they build them in those caverns. And basically, they have a navigator wheeled down into the caverns, and they hook them up to the ships, and they have them just pilot them out via fold space, which is basically just like teleporting. Let's see here. And I think there's not a lot left. Leto clears his name by the end of it. Subplot. Pardo Kynes. He is a planetologist raised in royalty. He's sent to Arrakis to investigate it, and he joins the Fremen. And the Fremen are pretty like, okay, what's this guy's deal? The Harkonnens tried to kill some of the Fremen, and Kynes went in to save them. And turns out one of them was Stilgar as a teenager, which is pretty neat. And they take him to their siege as thanks, and he starts preaching about like, hey, y'all got a really cool planet. We could repopulate it with water. It's possible. It's just I need to get the cycle started, but if you guys help me, we can make this place livable again. And so, upon hearing that, they're like, what? No way. And they fully go with it. And they treat Pardo Kynes as a prophet-ish of sorts. They really respect him though. He's like a really cool dude to them. And yeah, there's not much else. It doesn't feel like a Dune book. It feels like a mimicry of a Dune book, though. That's my one thing with it. It feels like instead of trying to, even though it's part of the Dune universe, I don't think mimicry is a good way of writing books. It shouldn't feel like somebody else's work. You shouldn't, because this just feels like they were trying to write like Frank Herbert. It's like they were trying to be slow, but they couldn't quite do it. And I'm not saying it's okay when it's good either. I just don't think, if you want to write something, write it your own. I do think it's not to say it's bad though. I'm not criticizing the writing. I think this is a very good book. Yeah, it was really awesome. But yeah, that was just my thoughts on it.